Welcome back. It's a pretty terrific Tuesday here in New York. The weather's beautiful outside. We're still locked in our homes. We're at the Corona Bunker Studios in my living room. And yes, many people ask me, I do have sweatpants on today. Not a full suit. But joining me right now is certainly a full suit. Frank Morano is at his home base network in... Hi, Frankie. Are you having
Hello
a drink
there,
today?
John.
I actually needed a rest today after my road trip.
I hit it real hard over the weekend. As I mentioned yesterday, I drank, I think, an entire bottle of bourbon in one day. So I'm trying to go easy for a couple of days. If you come by later, I would have a drink with you, but I'm gonna try and avoid drinking before the evening for at least for the next few days.
So let me tell you what, if I don't know what you want to talk about in this segment, but let me just tell you what happened was we went to the Cargo Cafe yesterday, right, to stand in solidarity with the owner. A few people came down, ordered takeout. They had little crates set up outside where people could sit outside. Cops would bother them in the morning. Then we finished the broadcast where I had a couple of cocktails, and they were serving their own version of a quarantini punch, okay? And it was nice, and then you can get an extra shot of vodka in there. And, you know, we stayed there in solidarity with the others, and no law enforcement came back. So a little banding together of the community warded it off, and, you know, Eddie made a little more money yesterday than he did another day. So hopefully other owners will start to embrace it
The
too.
controversy there, John, is that they wanted to have outdoor seating, and that's prohibited by the executive order. Is that the gist of it?
Here's the controversy. I wish the restaurant owners or the hospitality union, whoever handles this for all their members, he's got an outdoor seating area, okay, where he's allowed to serve drinks, right? So that part of his business is closed. So although he has his own open space, he can put, okay, I'm supposed to have up to 30 people there. I'll just have 10 at a time, right? No, you cannot do that. But you can sell drinks to go. And if the people sit in front of your place on the sidewalk drinking, you don't have a sidewalk cafe permit. So they can't loiter there. So you want to arrest them, you're going to arrest me. What are we doing, basically? And the cops are clearly in a bad spot, to be honest with you, because they don't want to lock a guy up who's just trying to make a few bucks. But yesterday went well. I'm hoping others will figure out ways to reopen and basically, you know, dare the authorities to arrest them for trying to save their business.
Well, hopefully now, at least in New York, where we have some objective criteria of what will allow states to begin reopening or different regions of the state to begin reopening, hopefully we can move towards these metrics and get the state reopened. Because so far, what's happening in other parts of the country, like Georgia, so far, knock on wood, it seems to be working out pretty well for them.
Right. So I wonder, I wonder if I don't know if it's a state official that we have or a city official, but I wonder if somebody could, lobby the governor and say, hey, we're, pretty much at zero here, and we're spaced out. We need to get a special exemption and reopen. I mean, it makes sense. If we're not having any new cases, if you said, all right, if it goes over 100, then you got to shut down again. Okay, 100
makes sense to me.
Well, I don't know. What do you think about the farm bill? Do you care about it?
Well, sure. I look. I don't love taking all of this borrowed money, or actually, it's not even borrowed. It's largely created out of digital thin air, and giving it to people and giving it to private industry. But I recognize that tough times call for desperate measures, and I recognize that farmers are particularly hard hit. I will say, and this is the same thing I said when you had certain sectors of the economy that were hurt by the retaliatory tariffs from China. I would say perhaps it's unwise to base the vast majority of your business on sales to a country like China. And I said this during the tariff fight, and I would say this again, and I recognize that farmers are having a very tough time right now, seeing crops spoil, having to murder their hogs, having to force their piglets to have abortions, having to dump all this milk that they can't sell. And this is through no fault of their own, because a bunch of politicians decided to shut down the economy and because there was a virus. I don't know that going forward, these people, farmers, manufacturers, whomever, should make the vast majority, or the NBA for that matter, should make the vast majority of their business dependent upon sales to countries like China.
Yeah, well, hopefully Trump can get, or at least some in the Republican establishment can get behind, making it more useful for people and incentivizing people to take business back to the USA. You know what I mean? Who knows? Let's hope, Frankie.
Absolutely.
When you say created too, just so you know, most people don't understand this, but we created it, but we backed it with some treasury bonds or treasury bills or treasury notes, 1-year notes, 5-year notes, 30-year treasury bills, right?
Right. But
and China buys them. So, you know what I mean? They're actually lending us the money to build up more debt. So it does get
so you
crazy.
have also...
We got 30, Frank.
You have the Federal Reserve diving into buying corporate bonds. Now companies are binging on risky debt to replace all their disappearing revenues. It could be argued that these corporations are just going to be owned by Wall Street banks via the Federal Reserve.
No doubt.
I'm not sure this is a sustainable situation.
Exactly. All right, we got to leave it right there. We'll bring you up to speed on more of what's happening out there. Jason Van Camp is going to join us right after this. Stay tuned. You're watching Liquid Lunch.
Most financially successful people own assets that make them money while they sleep. They usually own real estate, vehicles, intellectual property, equipment, and more. These assets make passive income through leases, subscriptions, royalties, and fees that don't require time, energy, or attention. Your assets do the work, and you collect the check. So what kind of asset should you buy? The most valuable companies in the world, like Amazon, Google, and Apple, all have the same thing in common. They make a majority of their revenue from data technology assets, storing, collecting, processing, and providing data. It's all about the data. What if you could own data tech assets with a low upfront cost? Introducing Apex, a proprietary technology built to process and mine data and render artificial intelligence and 3D gaming at exceptionally high rates. Apex Tech has partnered with SafeTech, a subsidiary of a publicly traded company called InvestView. SafeTech's business model leverages Apex technology to disrupt the multi-trillion-dollar data tech industry, giving you the competitive advantage. SafeTech's growth strategy is to capture a significant share of the market. SafeTech will enter into a 60-month lease with owners of Apex Systems. Why would they do that? Why not just buy all the equipment themselves? The same reason most companies lease instead of own, to scale quickly without the upfront costs and for the tax benefits. So how do you get started? You purchase an Apex system. Then you can lease it to SafeTech for 60 months at a rate of $500 per month. That's a total of $30,000 paid to you over the life of the lease. So what's your responsibility besides purchasing the Apex system? Nothing. During the lease, SafeTech is responsible for any maintenance costs to keep things running for you. Just collect a check every month for the next 60 months. This tremendous financial opportunity positions you to follow the strategies of the financially successful. You can leverage data technology to produce passive income that generates revenue without your time, energy, or effort. This is what is meant by creating multiple streams of income. But the opportunity to participate will not last forever. If this concept fits your financial goals, take action today while you still have the chance.